Hi, good morning, church. Thank you for this privilege that I'm able to share my testimony on Easter Sunday. I was brought up during the hippies culture. I don't know whether you can identify with the hippies culture, like your pastor wearing very tight jeans, seasoned. You know, at that time, keeping long hair is the coolest thing. You know, I remember I got quite long hair. Now, the rock anthem at that time was Smoke on the Water. I don't know anyone here remember this rock anthem. You know, during this period of time, taking drugs is coolest thing. So I remember when I was in school, I already start experimenting with drugs. So I thought it was a passing phase. It will be a passing phase like any young people, you know. So probably this period of time you do some nonsense, and then probably you will outgrow it, and you will continue your studies, and then you continue your career and get settled down, and that's it. So from marijuana, I was promoted to smoking heroin. So when once I was involved in heroin, that's the end of the road for me. That cost. I spent 10 over years of my life in and out of prison because of this addiction, which I find it is impossible to come out of it. I came to know about the gospel when I was 20 years old. And I went to a Christian halfway house called Teen Challenge at that time. And then from that, I went through my cold turkey, you know, and after that, I saw so many miracles happen during that time, but I was not impressed by the miracles. So I thought maybe I would like to explore more of the world. I think the drugs gave me more insights in life, or probably I still haven't enjoyed too much. And then that caused me to go out in and out of prison. And from there on, I spent about 10 over years. I remember there's probably in 1983, 84, the first time I came to know about, I saw Maranatha Church. You were at Jasmine Road, right? Yes, I was halfway house hopping because I was heavily hooked on drugs. I need to go to a halfway house. So I remember I walked past Jasmine Road, and I saw this church called Maranatha Assembly of God or something. So during that period of time, a lot of narcotics are standing by there to see any of the drug addicts that goes past Maranatha AOG, because Breakthrough was at the back, Marigold Drive. That place, all the streets are named after flowers. I don't know why. So I was able to evade the CMB, and I went to the halfway house and go through my rehabilitation. That actually doesn't help me, because in my heart I still want to continue my old ways. So I remember in 1993, I think that was my fourth incarceration. At that time, 1992, 93, 94, this period of time, a lot of my friends became Christians. A lot of my friends became Christian. If you read Christian literature about the Holy Spirit swept the place, it's not just a literal expression. No, I really experienced that. That year, that period of time, a lot of my friends become Christians. Some, I can't imagine he can become a Christian. You know, I mean, they are secret societies, all the big bosses, and humble themselves and profess they are Christians. You know, the subculture of prisoners, it's a very shame thing in the past to admit that you are Christian, you know. So that period of time, I was one of the prisoner And from that period of time, I was once again saved and experienced the love of God in a very, very special way. It's not just the Holy Spirit swept the whole place. I was one of the beneficiaries. A lot of my cohorts from that period of time became pastors, became missionary. And then I introduced some of my friends to my wife. He's full of tattoo from the head to the toes, the full body. And then in the past, he's one of the big bosses in one of the secret society. He was very humble, and then he's a missionary now. So I can't explain how it actually happens. So I remember that year when I was released, 1993, when I was released. But inside the prison, I really have a relationship with God. I pray, I do my quiet times. And then this period of time, there are many, in each cell, you can hear people are singing praises and loud in each cell. This is a really cell group. This is a cell group. And our cell, not every cell is 3 or 4 person. I stay in the cell that contains about 10 or 12 of us. So every day we will spend time and we will sing praises, and then we will conduct Bible study together. So when I was released in 1993, I tell myself, each time I came out from prison, I would say I would want to go back to my old ways. But each time when I was released from the prison, when I see heroin, literally my knees will wobble and I will just give in. So I tell myself, probably this time I want to, after spending so many years in and out of prison, why not I want to invest some time in a halfway house, seriously seek the Lord and know more about Him. So I enrolled myself in Helping Hand. Is a Christian halfway house. From that on, I'm able to go outside and work and come back to stay in this environment. So at first I was thought maybe stay 1 or 2 years. Then somehow I continued to stay. I remember I stayed about 7, 8 years. Go outside and work, and come back to the halfway house. And then from that on, I slowly save up enough of money. And then I start a courier service company. So unawareingly, I hired about 80% of ex-offenders. And somehow I realized that God has placed something in my heart that I want to go and work with this group of people. Because I already, I'm a recovered addict. I'm able to share my experience with them. And so started the courier service company. And the courier service company is called Two Fish Courier. So everybody will ask me, why you name your courier service as a Two Fish? So I say, that's what I want people to remember. You will be curious about two fish, So I remember after running the business, it was quite a profitable business. Of course, I got to work very hard. And then somehow there's an opening for a partnership to run a restaurant. So I jumped into it. And I started this Chinese restaurant with 200 seaters. It's called Goshen, if you remember this Chinese restaurant. Prior to that, I have no experience in cooking. I got no experience in cooking. The only experience I have in cooking is I was a T-boy in the prison. I cooked for the superintendent and cooked for the warders. But I remember in 1999, I was with a disaster relief team. You remember in 1999, there was a very big earthquake in Turkey. So I was traveling with this group of doctors, nurses from Singapore and Malaysia. They fly into Turkey. Of course, I'm not doing medical work. So my job is to build a tent and cook for the doctor and nurses. So each time when after the meal, the doctors and nurses will come to talk to me and say, Benny, your cooking is so good, Why don't you think of starting some kind of a food business. My point is sometimes you have a gift you don't know, you know. You need somebody else to come and remind you, hey, you got this gift, you know. Why don't you work on it? So when the opportunity arises, I joined this, I own this restaurant. With no cooking experience, but I believe God has given me a gift that once I eat something, Malay say habis, I know what is inside already. So somehow with this belief, I went in to start the Chinese restaurant, and then it was a big failure. It was a big failure. I fall flat on my face. Lost some money, and I remember one of the customers told me about Jamie Oliver in UK. He said, this guy actually hired a lot of naughty boys like you, you know. And they train them to become a chef so that they have some skills. So in my heart, I said, who the hell is Jamie Oliver? Never heard of him. So I went back home and Google and come to this page called the 15. The 15 in London. So I wrote to the CEO of the 15. It's not Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver is the poster boy. Of course, he actually runs the restaurant with them. So I asked the CEO, his name is Liam Black. He's a very famous social entrepreneur in London, in Europe. So I asked him, is it possible for me to do an internship with you? So he replied me, say, sorry, no, it's only for the British. It's not for, there's never happened for a foreigner to come and do an internship. Furthermore, you are 46 years old. You know, so the second day I asked him the same thing. He said, no. The third day I asked him the same thing. He said, I already told you you can't because we only cater for the British ex-prisoners, street kids. So the fourth day I asked the same question. He said, okay, I will reply you through emails. So somehow I got this opportunity to do an internship in his restaurant to understand more about helping street kids in the food business. So came back, and a few of my church members, they want to invest in me, and then we started our first restaurant in Simi, 18 Chef. So from there on, at its highest peak, we have 14 restaurants. One in Vancouver. 2019, I went to Vancouver and started 18 Chefs. So when I went there, I see there's so many Hong Kongers, you know, because cheese baked rice is originated from Hong Kong and Macau. So I said I cannot bluff them, cannot. You know, they will serve better cheese baked rice than me. So when I went there, I sell chicken rice, mee rebus, mee siam, laksa, and then it was a good business. So came back, COVID sets in, and then we have to close the restaurant. So in 2021, I sold my business, all my restaurants to my partners. So me and my wife, we are both retired, happily retired. And then on the Easter Sunday, I was once again reminded by God's grace, His faithfulness, that I can actually be standing here and share my testimony to you all. Thank you.